Hi, welcome to my class on my easiest sponge cake. Easiest, super moist, easy to make, quick and easy. In 10 minutes, the cake mixture is ready. You already have the ingredients in your kitchen, so you don't need to start running around trying to get this. There is no butter at all in this cake, but it tastes super and it's super moist. It stays super moist for days and days and days on end. Okay, that's if you can even keep that cake for that long. Okay, even if you have it for 2 weeks, you have a super moist cake. So we'll go in and learn the step-by-step method. You need to watch the video to the end. Okay, step by step on how you can get this cake perfectly ready, mixture ready in 10 minutes, and your cake in the oven within 20 minutes. Your cake is out. So all in, you make a cake, you do the mixture, and you do the cake in 30 minutes. Okay, so that's a very easy and quick cake. Right, so we're going to move to our first step, our first few steps really in making this cake now. So we have two 8-inch pans here, and we're going to grease and line. We've already lined and greased, we've done part of the work, and we greased under the parchment paper, and then we place parchment paper, we cut it round. You can learn all this in our model 1, how to line your pan and all that. Okay, so that's done here. Okay, and then we're just going to add a little oil on the parchment paper, and then yeah, and we're going to use our brush to spread it around. Okay, up the sides and down at the bottom, and we're going to repeat the same thing for this second pan. So this recipe can make a 2-layer 8-inch, okay, or a 3-layer 6-inch, right? So we're going to do this again just like we did before. The process of greasing and lining our pans is in model 1, where we have the basics of baking and so many things you need to learn. So you can contact us if you want to take our whole program of model 1. There's so much to learn in baking. So now we're going to move to our next step, but before we do that, I want to tell you something about preparing your oven right now. Okay, so you're going to preheat your oven to 150 to 160 degrees. Now if your oven is the hot type that gets too hot fast, now preheat it to 150 degrees. But if your oven is regular and heats up the regular way, preheat it to 160 degrees. And then another thing you must do at this stage is place a pan of water into your oven, a small pan of water. Okay, it shouldn't be plastic, it should be a metal pan, something that won't get hurt in the oven, or it could even be glass, one of those glass or ceramics that you can use to bake. So put some little water in it, some water, not too little, but water that's going to like evaporate during baking. Okay, and what that does for your cake is that it keeps moisture in the air and prevents the cake from drying out. Okay, so now you put your water in the oven, you preheat your oven, you prepare your pans, and you move to your next stage. Right now I'm going to introduce our ingredients. The ingredients we have here are simple. You can get them just anywhere in your house, in your household. I'm sure you can get them. Okay, so we have 320 grams of all-purpose flour right here. 320 grams of all-purpose flour. We have 200 grams of sugar right here. We have another 200 grams of liquid milk. Yeah, you can just mix up your powdered milk with water and weigh 200 grams, or you can just use long life full cream milk. That's fine. Okay, so that's 200 grams of liquid milk. We have 140 grams of vegetable oil. Okay, you could use any type of vegetable oil aside from some soybean oil, don't go there, and groundnut oil, don't go there. Anything that has taste, don't go there. You just want some tasteless vegetable oil or sunflower oil, canola oil, anything like that will be perfect. Okay, and then we have 4 lovely eggs here, medium-sized eggs, good to go with that. And then we have 20 grams of baking powder right here. Okay, and then we have our oil, flavor oil. So we have half a teaspoon of vanilla oil. Okay, you can also do same with lemon oil, strawberry oil, orange oil, and all those delicious flavor oils that Cassata has. We have all those oils, and you can get from us if you are in our locality. Now, if you don't have Cassata oils, you can just use any other one that is available to you. But because our oils are super strength and you only need very little, if you're using flavoring and stuff like that, if you're using essence, what you would do is 2.5 teaspoons of vanilla essence. Okay, so that's all for our ingredients right now. The only thing that's not here is a pinch of salt, which you will see me adding when we start the process. So now we're going to our next step, which is to mix up our eggs, sugar, and salt. So we're going to break 4 eggs. We have some pretty white eggs here. We get a lot of these white eggs in Accra, Ghana. I don't know why they're white, don't ask me, I don't know, but they're good. Okay, so that's the second. And definitely they are chicken eggs, okay? So never mind that they are white. Some species are just white. And this is the fourth. So, right? So we're also going to add our sugar. Just pour in all the sugar into the eggs. It's 200 grams of sugar. And then we're just going to put in a pinch, let's get a good pinch, a pinch of salt, a good pinch of salt. Okay, if your hands are small, you can make that 2 pinches. Okay, so now you can do this with a hand mixer or a stand mixer, so there's no fuss about it, but it should be a mixer so you can get it nice and creamy. Now, of course, if you have very powerful hands, well, you can, because you can even whip cream with your hands. So I mean, but that would be a lot of work. Now, so before we start, we're going to whip it until it's very creamy, fluffy, and white. Okay. Just want to check it. Right, so this is ready to move on to our next stage. So let's go. Right, so our next step now is to add our other ingredients to our our egg and sugar mix. So we're going to add the oil. Now we've got to make sure all comes in, so let's get all of that out so we don't waste any. I hate waste. Okay, and now we have our milk, so we're going to pour this in as well. Okay, and of course shake that so we don't waste any. And then we have our flavoring, our vanilla extract or oil, whichever one you have, or whichever vanilla or essence. I've explained the quantity difference. Okay, so we're now going to give it a little mix. We're just going to mix it until combined. We're not doing any major mixing. Okay, just mix until combined. You're sure that it's well mixed and it's not concentrated on one part. So when you do that, we're good to go to our next step. I just want to thank all my subscribers that have been following me. I say thank you for following me. Thank you for liking my posts. Thank you for commenting. I encourage you, please continue. If you support this channel with your likes, your shares, and your subscriptions, you are doing a lot of good. I appreciate you, and I really encourage you. Please share my posts, like them, okay? Like our videos, ask your friends to subscribe, and let's all have a big party in here. You're going to be having a good time on this channel from now henceforth, okay? And if you've never subscribed to this channel, why haven't you subscribed? I encourage you to consider subscribing today. All you need to do is click the subscribe button and then click all the notifications so that you can be always the first to get my amazing recipes to boost your cake baking, your dessert making, anything you can think of about baking. So please subscribe and consider subscribing today. As I speak, just start, subscribe and click the notification button, and thank you so much in advance. So we're going to go and learn how to bake this super easy, the easiest sponge cake of all my recipes. I have lots of them. Now this is the easiest. Let's go and get it. So our next step is to pour. We're going to sieve the flour and the baking soda into the mix. I'll just take it half for now, so we don't have too much at the same time in the sieve. Okay, so I'll take about half of the baking powder as well, half of baking powder, not baking soda. So yeah, so that's half of that. So we're gonna just, sieve it in. I prefer to use something to just gently encourage it to go in through. You should use a fine sieve, not a sieve with big holes. Usually when you're using a fine sieve, you may need to just use something like this to just encourage it through. I prefer that to shaking it all around and getting flour everywhere and wasting some of the flour. Okay, unless you have a very wide bowl you are sieving it into. Okay, so now I'm going to do the second batch. On the second batch of the baking powder as well. Right, so let's just mix that into, so it's going to go in again. If this bowl beneath was much bigger, much wider, then I would shake it around, shake the sieve around. But it's not so wide, so I don't want any of the flour just wasting away. So that's what I'm using. Okay, so we got most of it out, yeah, except the ones we don't need. Right, so now we're just going to gently whisk this in with your hand whisk, just until combined. So we need to get it to be well mixed. Right now we're still seeing, many lumps. Well, it's almost ready. Gradually the lumps are disappearing and it's turning into one homogeneous mix. Remember, you're supposed to just do it gently, not aggressively. Right. So there. So this is ready now for our next stage. Right, so now we're going to pour our batter into the pans. Okay, the secret to having beautifully decorated cake, one of the secrets is to have even layers. So we're going to weigh what we're going to put in each pan. Okay, how are we going to know the exact measurements? Now we add up the total weight of all our ingredients. Okay, so you know we had our flour 320 grams, sugar 200, oil, you know, add up the total weight. And then for the eggs, they were medium-sized eggs and they were on the bigger side of medium size. So you can take each egg as 54 grams and multiply it by 4. So we add up all that and it's 1098. Okay, or is it 1096 or 1098, something like that, and then we divide it into 2, so you have a rough estimate of what you should be putting inside these 2 pans, and that's about 548 grams in each pan, give or take, plus or minus a little, because some flour may have dropped off, and you know, so but you have an idea. It should be 548 plus or minus a few grams in each pan. So we are going to pour here. This is our scales. We have our scales on now. Okay, so we're going to pour 548 grams. It's on 0 now, so we're going to pour from the middle, just pour it right down to 548 grams. We're almost there, so I'll just pour it gently. Okay, so we're on 500 and it has exceeded, so I'm going to remove some. It's 543 now. 545. Just put a little. 548. So we're going to, this goes out, and then one thing we do is drop it about 3 times. Now this gets rid of the air bubbles and smoothens it out. Now we're going to do same for this, our second pan. It's on 0 now. So we're going to pour in the remaining. So we now have our 2 pans with an equal measurement. Okay, now like I said earlier, it was a plus or minus thing for 548 because you know some batter sticks to the bowl that it was mixed with, and then some poured here and there, so we had to do some adjustments for it to be equal. Okay, so this is 520 grams and this is 520 grams as well, so we're just going to drop this 1, 2, 3 times. Right, so the cake is going into the oven right now. We're going to keep the cake in the oven for 20 minutes. So when it's 20 minutes, set your timer. So when it's 20 minutes, you check it by dipping your skewer or your toothpick into the cakes, and if they come out clean, then your cake is ready. Okay, remember the oven should have been preheated to 150 degrees centigrade, and there should be a pan of water in the oven as well. Our cake is out. We have one of the cakes here and we're going to turn it over. Okay, so let it cool down for about 15 minutes in the pan, after leaving it in the oven for like 20 minutes basically, unless your oven is very hot. So now we're going to turn it over onto the rack for it to, so this is the rack, so let me just put the stand here. Right, so it's out. It's a very brown cake, but it's very soft inside. So now it's on the rack and we'll leave it for a few minutes to cool down completely. Right, so the cake is cooled now. So we're going to turn it over onto this plate. So we're going to turn it this way, put the plate at the bottom, and then turn over the rack. Okay, so the cake is now on the plate. Okay, now it's a bit sloped, but it's not a problem. If you're going to decorate, you know what to do. You need to level it. But now see, this is the cake. Very, very soft. Very, very soft. Now let's see. We want to cut a nice slice. Okay. Yes, so that's the slice. Can you see that? Very, very soft and delicious, to say the least. Let me have a taste. This cake stays moist. Okay? It's very, very moist. Tastes heavenly.